Fear is a complex emotion. It's intriguing how it manifests. It's fascinating how people respond to it. It's terrifying how powerful and unpredictable it can be. Fear is an emotion caused by a couple small pieces of our brain known as amygdala. How it works and makes us afraid of things is complicated, but its importance is shown in how it's kept the human race alive and thriving for millions of years. It quickens your heart rate, cuts your breath short, it tenses up your muscles and tendons, floods your heart with adrenaline, and your brain is blasted by chemicals. Now is the time to act. What do we do? Your brain asks, as your eyes dart around, trying to get a look at what's going on. Your ears perk up, trying to listen to what's happening. The way people react to something deemed scary or frightening is different for everyone. Some will choose to charge head-on, facing whatever is deemed threatening. Some choose to run away, to leave the situation as quickly as possible. Many become paralyzed, unable to move, to think, to speak, when faced with something potentially dangerous. Certain stimuli can trigger a fear response in some people, while others seemingly don't react at all. Many have trained their fear response to allow coordinated action rather than just relying on fight or flight response. Some choose to weaponize fear, to make people predictable, control their actions, make them do things they otherwise wouldn't. Many claim other things or emotions are stronger, more powerful, but nothing compares to fear. Something of monetary value can motivate people to do things, sure, but they can be swayed by something of higher value or rational or moral thinking.
Not my problem, Marta. Should have put it in my contract.
Love is said powerful in many ways, but I see it more equivalent to a type of spell if misused. And spells, time and again, have been broken. To describe fear in a similar allegory, it's a radioactive mass gone critical. Anyone who sees it will be effective. No one's truly immune to it. And though it can be weaponized, it is a very dangerous double-edged sword. And worst of all, it spreads horrifyingly fast. If one person catches it, and there's nothing to moderate it, what's stopping it from reaching others in mere moments? Fear is a plague, spread by information as fast as light or sound can travel, making it the most dangerous disease of all, more than any other in human history. Many types of media have tried to invoke such fear, with varying levels of success. Books and stories can hook people into reading or listening to every excruciating detail as they hang off every word until they feel that tug on their nerves.
If the wind is gone, what the fuck is making the corn stalks rustle?
Movies and TV shows show only just enough to put the audience in the character's shoes, waiting with bated breath their next move. But it's video games, most of all, that have made players put a metaphorical brick wall in front of them to keep them from moving forward, lest they face a threat they can only fathom could be just beyond the next corner. But not often do games invoke fear in such a stark and vicious way. I've been on a quest to find games that make my heart catch in my throat, make me hesitate moving forward, or panic enough to disregard all rational thought. Rarely have I found games that make me feel such genuine fear. But never have I found a game that reflects fear as well. Not until I replayed Dead Space. Before the Dead Space remake many people are familiar with today, Dead Space was originally created and developed by Glenn Schofield and the EA Redwood Shores team, who would later rebrand to the late Visceral Games after the original's massive success, all the way back in 2008. It was also published by EA, long before they became the greedy loot boxing company that many would despise years later. The idea behind Dead Space was to make a horror game that looked realistic, despite being set in a sci-fi world. It would immerse the player in the present situation, blurring the line between watching a movie and playing a video game. Though this wasn't the first time a studio achieved this, it still delivered a horrifying experience. So, let's start a new game, select difficulty, and dive right in.
Isaac, it's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I wish I could just talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. It's strange. Such a little thing.
We take the role of a Concordance Extraction Corporation, or CEC, Ship Systems Specialist Engineer Issac Clarke, aboard the USG Kellyan on a repair mission for a planet cracker vessel. Along with us are Kendra Daniels, the computer specialist, and Zach Hammond, the chief security officer and spearhead of the mission. The woman in the video playing before was Nicole Brennan, Isaac's girlfriend, who was presumably aboard the vessel. Now, we have not only the mission, but also personal stakes too. Speaking of the mission, we're answering a distress signal following a total communications blackout. The Kellyan is tasked to enter orbit above Aegis 7 in the Cygnus system to find the mining vessel and assist in repairs.
There she is. We have visual contact.
So that's Ishimura. Impressive.
The USG Ishimura, the CEC's flagship planet cracker, the largest and oldest of her class still in service today. Things are quiet as expected, but with runway lights not on and comms sounding rather odd, something doesn't feel right. Kendra keeps everyone on track, praising the strange comms to be something simple to fix in just a couple of days, so Hammond orders the pilot to lead us in. Oh yeah, the pilot and co-pilot. I forgot about them. Don't worry, they don't have names. They'll be dead very soon.
What the hell?
Sir, the auto dock.
What is it?
We're off track. We're gonna hit the hull.
Hit the blast shields. That guidance tether's damaged. Switch to manual, now.
Inside the magnetic field? Are you insane? Abort!
No! We can make it inside. Corporal, gave you an order.
The field's too strong.
After our not-so-graceful docking procedure, surprisingly, everyone's okay, if a little shaken up. The Kellyan, on the other hand, is in bad shape, and we'll need to find a way to fix her later. For now, we head out to find some of the flight deck crew. We head inside the flight lounge and see the whole room is empty, save for some bags and suitcases strewn about, packed quickly. No one else is around. Something most certainly isn't right. For now, Hammond orders us to pull up a security console in a nearby room. Using it, we can run a ship-wide diagnostics check. Before I continue though, I need to note something. Remember what I said about how Dead Space reflects fear? Keep that in mind, and listen. If you couldn't hear it, if you stand still at any point, you can hear Isaac's heartbeat and breathing. Right now, he's calm, as if nothing is wrong. And as of right now, nothing is. We move to the console and run a diagnostics check. Most of the decks across the ship are severely damaged, and the trams are down due to a host of issues.
What the hell was that?
Automatic quarantine must have tripped when the filtration system restarted. Everybody relax.
What was that?
Not sure.
The hell? I don't know. Something's in the room with us.
Jesus! Open fire! Open fire! Turn the power!
Come on. Got it!
Isaac! Get the hell out
The
of
doors
there!
unlocked! Run!
See? Told you to be dead soon. Oh shit!
Run, Isaac! Get the hell out of there!
that was exhilarating. Let's never do that again. This scene is genius. We barely see what horror we'll soon face, kill off a couple of crew members, then we run for our lives to the elevator, and just when we think we're safe and we let our guard down, we see it right in front of us, tearing open the doors of the elevator. This right here is horror perfected. We're in a precarious position and we have to get out of it. There's no cutscene, there's no fade to black. No, we have to get out of there. Rarely does Dead Space use cutscenes, save for some specific animations and at the very end. So when something is going on, we're in total control of Isaac's movements at all times. And in that moment, we're completely vulnerable too. While I was running away, I actually got hit by one of the monsters. Chances are low that we can actually die in that hallway, but they are far from zero. And that makes this scene all the more heart-pounding. And you know the best part? It's heart-pounding for Isaac too. His heavy breathing and quickened heart rate can actually be heard in-game after facing such a harrowing chase. Dead Space reflects the player's fear through Isaac. A genius idea, and I love it so much. After escaping the ambush, we arrive on the lower floor and find our first tool, along with a very helpful message. This is the plasma cutter, a very useful tool that can shoot hot projectiles at supersonic speeds and can cut and burn through metals and other solid objects. It also has the benefit of being excellent at cutting through bone and tough sinew and burning flesh and skin. It's wise not to play around with this very effective but very dangerous tool, but given the situation we're in right now, I'm willing to commit several 26th century OSHA violations against very deadly aliens that want to stab me several times and live to suffer the legal ramifications that come with them. The plasma cutter is by far the most useful tool in Isaac's arsenal, full stop. It's not the best damaging tool, and it's not exactly really good with crowd control, but its versatility is second to none. The name of the game here is removing limbs from enemies. And when it comes down to it, the plasma cutter is nigh unbeatable. And it even doubles down with its alt fire. It just spins 90 degrees for more horizontal instead of vertical cutting. It's a simple alt fire, but it's a really versatile one. There's a reason why there's an entire achievement solely dedicated to using the plasma cutter throughout an entire playthrough. Though achievements aren't included in the Steam version, which I'm playing right now, I'll be spiritually attempting this challenge, along with a few others later down the road. This soon proved to be a very dumb decision on my part, for reasons I will explain much later. For the time being, we have only one tool at our disposal, and you'd better get used to it because it's the best tool to keep on you. We move on and break the lock powering the door, and face our first necromorph. Slashers are the most common necromorphs we'll be facing, and are surprisingly not the easiest, despite being the first enemy we face. They're most notable by their hand blades, and use them to slash at us, hence the name Slasher. They're surprisingly fast too, and they can close the distance very quickly. They can be stunned by body shots, but I wouldn't rely on them for damage. Like I said, removing limbs is the name of the game. So the best way to deal with a slasher is by cutting off the arms. That way, they cannot attack at all. They're not the easiest targets to hit, but they're usually rather weak, so if you get a good hit on an arm, you will deal massive damage to them. You can cut off the legs, it'll help slow them down and make our job easier at taking off the arms. Headshots can also do considerable damage, but it does make them flail wildly sometimes, and that just makes things a little bit harder on us. We take it down and move forward. There's an audio log that details us to watch the ventilation shafts, as that's where they gain their freedom of movement, and the reason why they can show up pretty much anywhere across the ship.
This is Benson. Everybody listen up. They're using the vents. That's how they're getting around the ship. Stay away from down. Get back! Get back!
We find Kendra and Hammond on the other side of the tram control room. Surprisingly, they're still alive. The tram system is down, and Hammond and Kendra are stuck, so the tram needs to be fixed if we're to get around anywhere on the ship. The tram control data board exploded like my graphics card back in the day, and there's a broken tram blocking the whole system waiting for a replacement. And since the quarantine has locked most of the doors, and we're close to tram maintenance, we get tasked with fixing the tram system. Once an engineer, always an engineer.
You fix the tram, and I'll help you find Nicole.
We move for the broken tram to get that replaced first. On the way, we find a door malfunctioning and a stasis module, a very useful tool that can help us to slow down enemies and help solve puzzles like this one. In the tram repair room, we encounter a few more slashers and find out why there's a broken tram blocking everything. We get the broken tram off the tracks, fight off more slashers, and then get the hell out. Before we get to the data board first, we need to deal with the new enemy type, the Leaper. Leapers don't really have legs, mostly because they kind of fuse together into a weird tail that they whip us with, but they can still reach incredibly fast speeds. They either tackle us down and try to maul us, or use their very sharp tails to slash at us. They also have the luxury to climb walls, and so they'll appear in zero-G environments due to it. Again, the best way to deal with them is cut off the arms. They're arguably weaker compared to the slashers, as if you just cut off one arm, they'll slowly limp towards you compared to the slasher's speedy crawl. It gets even worse if you catch them on a wall. One arm gets cut, and they're just dead immediately. With that distraction out of the way, we move from maintenance to get that data board.
This is Benson, Tram Engineering. We think we figured it out. Smith killed one. Listen, forget about shooting him in the body. You gotta cut off the limbs, grab a cutter, anything like that. Cut him apart!
As we're heading down to maintenance, Kendra lets us know the storage room is locked, so we can't just get the data board easily. There's a spare key upstairs we can commandeer, so we make our way to the maintenance elevator, with some distractions. Eventually, we do make it up, grab the key, and get the data board. While we're here, let's nab ourselves a power node and check out the bench. This is where we upgrade things, such as our rig, our stasis, and other tools, allowing us to have more health, freeze things for longer, and do a lot more damage. Nodes power everything in our tools and rig, and the bench is where we slot them in. Pro tip, make sure you have at least one node on you, in case you come across a special room requiring a node to unlock it. We upgrade a rig, kinda, and get back to the tram control room. We get back, slot the data board in, and call the tram for the crew. Hammond tells us to get back to the Kellyan and prep it for launch so we can get the hell out of here as soon as possible.
If we live that long, you're out of your league, Hammond. This is suicide. We're going to die out
Your
here.
confidence in me is duly noted, Miss Daniels. But I have a mission to complete, and that's exactly what I am going to do, with or without you. Do we understand each other?
Just get us out of here alive.
After arriving at the Kellyan, we do a systems diagnostic, and the ship starts going completely critical. We bail out, and the Kellyan sadly gets completely demolished. Kendra and Hammond made it to the bridge, and can't get into anything due to an executive lockdown on all systems. The only way to find out what happened to the Ishimura is by getting the captain's authorization codes. Problem is, Captain Matthias is dead, and is somewhere on the medical deck. Hammond sends the tram back to us so we can get to medical, and they both swiftly get attacked by a Leaper. After making it to the tram, we find the store, allowing us to buy some much-needed supplies. But most importantly, we get ourselves the level 2 suit, granting us a bit of armor and some much-needed inventory slots. Much better. We can also grab the pulse rifle and line gun if we so desire. Let's talk about the pulse rifle first. It's not great. Okay, let me elaborate. It's okay at taking off limbs, yes, but something about it being this inaccurate really doesn't work for me. It'll work for sure in mid-range engagements. I'd even consider it as a primary for my personal loadout, actually, but only when it's properly upgraded. There really isn't much versatility like in subsequent games, and its alt-fire is just not good. Before we got the grenade launcher in Dead Space 2, this is what we had. It's a cool idea, and seeing Isaac duck under the sprinkler of death is kind of a nice touch, but it really just isn't worth it. Thankfully, we can hold a lot of ammo, so that is worth something, at least. The line gun, on the other hand, is far better, and really great at being almost as underwhelming as the pulse rifle. Its primary fire is a massive line of plasma, arcing through necromorphs like a hot knife through butter, and is a death sentence against an upcoming enemy, actually. Its ult, though, is a timed mine, and it's as slow as a slash mob weapon charge attack. Very underwhelming. Plus, ammo really doesn't stack very much, so be cautious. After getting some supplies and upgrading more stuff, we move for the medical deck. Arriving at medical, we're greeted with the...
Shh, it's all right, McCoy. He's here. Nothing to be afraid of. I knew you would come. Just like you said. I saved this for you. Can I go now? Claire wants to take me. Just shut up.
Anyways, we now have the kinesis module, allowing us to pick up, move, and throw objects around. Clearing the blockade, we find a schematic for the flamethrower not far in, and turn it in at the store. The flamethrower is a very underwhelming tool, at least in my eyes. It's got no way to do significant damage in a short period of time, and can't really target limbs specifically, or at least not very well. It's more of a spray and pray single target weapon, really. Also, it's completely useless in a vacuum. Shocking, I know. Surprisingly, it's got some knockback, allowing it to actually be viable in some crowd control. Its alt-fire is also lackluster. It shoots a ball of flame at the cost of like 10 fuel. With actually pretty respectable range, I'll give it that. It'll stick to any surface it lands on for some time, dealing to anyone who sits in it, even you if you're not careful. It'll also stick to enemies too, which is also really helpful. Still, it doesn't exactly excel at taking off limbs. Instead, it just kind of does damage until like a limb explodes off at some point. Moving deeper into the medical deck, Hammond gives us a call confirming yes, he is still alive. Kendra's MIA though, but Hammond keeps on with the mission.
We can still do this. Get me the captain's rig codes and we'll find Nicole.
Whoever was still alive before our arrival barricaded the door to ER, so we'll have to find a way to blast through it, as the morgue is just beyond there, and likely where Matthias's rig is. Hammond tells us there's some thermite in med storage, for some reason, and an AED shock pad in zero-G therapy. Again, for a strange reason, but oh well. We'll move for the medical thermite first. After a brief quarantine ambush, we search around for some supplies and notes. There's an audio log from a Dr. Chalice Mercer, Chief Science Officer and Unitologist fanatic, who saw a video feed of some poor souls transforming into necromorphs down in the colony.
I finally convinced Jurgens to show me the video feed from the colony. And what I saw was glorious, breathtaking. Miners undergoing a transformation into something extraordinary. I must know more. Even as the believer within me wants to become one of them, the scientist needs to uncover their secrets. I need to study one of these necromorphs, as Kyne so clinically puts it. I need to witness the selection firsthand. Perhaps that patient from the colony.
There's a video feed in Chief Science Officer Dr. Terrence Kine's office where Dr. Kine and Captain Matthias talk about the colony outbreak and how Dr. Kine is rather concerned about this marker is coming aboard.
What in God's name is going on down there?
I think that's precisely the point, Doctor. God's work.
I'm not so sure of that. We have to assume that the colony's problems are somehow connected to the marker.
You can assume all you want to. I do not. The marker is glorious and divine. You know that.
God moves in mysterious ways.
Anyway, we'll have it on board tomorrow. You can analyze it all you want to. What are you so worried about?
Worried? Captain, people are dying down there, killing each other. Is this madness, the transformation unitology teaches us?
Doctor, Terrence, there will always be risk when the stakes are high. And here, they're enormous. It could change everything.
Well, that's what worries me.
Whatever this marker is, it's of great importance to the captain, and of great concern to Dr. Kine. Moving a secret bookshelf reveals some more supplies, a gold semiconductor, and Dr. Kine's personal text log. Chief Science Officer Dr. Terrence Kine, personal log. The video logs from the colony are of poor quality, but the artifact does indeed appear to be a genuine marker, the first to be found in Unitology's 200-year history. I'm eager to get it on board the ship so I can study it properly. The potential here is enormous. Not just for me personally, though it's true I've dreamed of such a discovery for decades, but also to humanity, and the Church of Unitology in particular. This marker could herald the dawn of a new age for mankind, and I will do my part to ensure it comes to pass. I know the Church will be grateful, but the true recognition will come from all of humanity. On this day, we are blessed. This marker seems to be an important artifact to the Church of Unitology. Who they are right now is beyond us. So, we move on to...
Come on! Come on! Let me out!
We get introduced to the Lurker, a dangerous pest with range attacks but rather weak limbs. Best strategy against them? Take off their tentacles. There's no way they can fight back if they're all gone. Or, granted, we could just get grabbed by them and Isaac just throws them onto the ground and then uses them like a football. After fighting off a couple more lurkers, we get the thermite and move for the shock pads and zero-G therapy. On our way, we encounter this guy. Funny thing about him, the community is torn whether this guy is actually here in a physical sense, or just a product of Isaac's slowly building dementia, and is just something that only Isaac can see. Oh, right, the dementia thing. We'll get to that soon. We move further and find another node-locked door containing an audio recording showing us Mercer and Kine's differing beliefs.
You found something down there, didn't you?
Yes, we found something.
So the texts were right all this time.
I wouldn't be certain of that. There was nothing divine in what I saw.
We must embrace this. We are the first witnesses.
Matthias isn't letting anyone down in the colony. It's under quarantine until we learn more.
To hell with Matthias. He of all people should know that this is greater than him, or the operation, or even the company. This is our deliverance.
Keep your damn voice down. People are dying down there.
Only the worthless and the unbelievers. But I believe. Do you believe, Terrence? Do you?
There's also a text log by Dr. B. Warwick, the chief psychology officer, detailing a certain patient named Brant Harris, who was one of the miners down in the colony during the marker's retrieval. Chief Psychology Officer of Dr. Warwick, medical log, report of psychiatric observation. Patient is Brant Harris, employee PM19026EH. Harris is asleep after another strong sedative. He seems literally unable to sleep without chemical aid. Most people succumb to exhaustion after 50 plus hours of waking, regardless of any desire to stay awake. Not Harris. His explanation of events on the colony is also odd, and points to the same paranoia we've seen elsewhere planetside. His guilt is not in doubt, though. 2 planetside security officers were present when he took Dr. Cigarello hostage and murdered Nurse Evans. And he doesn't deny his actions, but he insists there was no crime, nor does he feel guilt. This is classic sociopathic behavior, but Harris exhibits no other symptoms. He is affable and friendly, able to empathize and offer original opinions. When questioned about the murder, however, he becomes withdrawn and intransigent, displaying schizophrenic behavior. He also undergoes intermittent hallucinatory periods, again similar to those experienced by other colonists. Harris claims he threatened the doctor because he, quote, had to stop the dreams and the faces, and that he'll kill again to, quote, make it whole again. What that means, I haven't determined yet. A most intriguing case. Something made Harris snap, and what that might be only makes me more worried. Isaac would likely be too, but we still also haven't found Nicole. And mind you, she was a senior medical officer. This is likely the only place we'll find any trace of her. We move further, crossing through a damaged hallway, leading it to be our first vacuum area. We have a limited time to be here, but with upgrades, we can stay for longer. After we get to 0G therapy, we get our first 0G area, and we move around like this. Yeah, before we had the omnidirectional movement via suit thrusters most people know and very much love, we had this. We'd later get to use the far better and much more fun 0G movement system in Dead Space 2, so get used to leaping across the room to get where you want to be. We get the shock pads and make our way back, encountering some resistance along the way. Also, we get introduced to swarmers. These little bastards are an annoyance if you don't have good crowd control tools, but they're also extremely weak. The problem occurs when you encounter a good bunch of them, and are also at low health, as they'll tear you apart very quickly. There's many ways you can deal with them, but of course the best way is to just keep them off you and blast them quickly. If they do get on you, you can shake them off easily. If a good number of them get on you, they'll also stun you, so be careful. We get to the barricade and blast it away. Inside, we find a video log showing us Nicole for the first time.
This is Senior Medical Officer Nicole Brennan transmitting ship-wide. We need more help. We don't have the resources to deal with this many cases. Nobody would tell us what's happening. These wounds, we are not equipped to deal with this. God. Get him to the table. Hold him. Nurse, you hold him down. Christ. And record him.
That was Nicole, right? I can't tell from here when that log was made. I'm sure she's around here somewhere.
There's been a few times where Hammond has told us to continue the mission with the promise that he'll help us find Nicole. When talking about this with my friend Rose, she commented about how subtly manipulative Hammond was. Granted, I somewhat agreed, but thinking about it further, I see where he's coming from. Hammond is trying to keep Isaac focused on the mission, with his end goal of finding Nicole. But neither of them really know her whereabouts, or if she's even still alive at this point. But here, Hammond seems to be acting like a leader, telling Isaac in a very genuine tone, we're sure to at least find her somewhere. He's just barely manipulative, but in a way a leader should be. It's enough to keep his team on the right track, even if he himself doesn't know all the answers. And it keeps his team's spirits high and hopeful, even when facing uncertainty. Also, there's something I need to note about this room. You see that hole in the wall there? Outside the room, you can hear Isaac's heartbeat and breathing, just barely. He's calm. Step inside, and it starts getting louder. It's noticeable. Draw closer to the hole, and his breathing gets strained, like it would if you're in a fight. His heartbeat is also a lot faster, too. Curious, no? Put yourself in Isaac's position. If you were close to that hole, how would you feel? What made that hole? Could it come back again? What if it saw you there? What would you do? Would you even have time? There's a few more notes by Dr. Kine close by. Science Log, Chief Science Officer Dr. Terrence Kine. Attention to Captain Matthias. Benjamin, further to your previous conversation, I ask that you delay bringing the marker up from the planet for a day or two. You know I'm as keen as anyone to study it in detail, and I understand why your sense of urgency given the events on the colony. But that's why I ask, what's happening down there is just too unique, too unprecedented, to cut it short without proper time to study the causes and effects. In light of a discussion I had with Dr. Mercer, I'd like to meet with Dr. Cigarello and Welland planetside to get their observations. Terrence.
Science Log Chief Science Officer Dr. Kine reporting. The colony's problems concern me greatly. I have no doubt they are somehow linked to the discovery of the marker, but the exact nature of that connection is still unknown. Almost 40% of the colonists are experiencing a form of dementia. The obvious symptoms are acute depression, insomnia, and hallucination. Incidents of violence and even murder also indicate extreme paranoia. Dr. Mercer has advised that I bring some of the affected on board for study. Dr. Welland, the planetside psychiatrist, has reported that his own analysis has been fruitless. I'm hesitant to rely on Dr. Mercer at this point, but I need his expertise. We need solutions, and we need them quickly.
Despite being a unitologist, Dr. Kine seems to doubt his own beliefs. Finally, we get to step inside the morgue. We find the captain's body not too far away, but before we can get to it, we need to introduce a couple more enemies. That thing molesting the captain's body is known as an infector, one of the more difficult enemies to fight. They're not too problematic alone, nor are they super tanky, but they have no limbs to cut off, so they'll take quite a few shots to kill. The problem is more what they do. They're not supposed to fight you head on. Instead, they fight you by proxy, infecting other victims by shooting their proboscis, or whatever the hell that is, directly into the brain of whatever unfortunate victim, and turning them into slashers, like Captain Matthias right now. Another problem is what these bodies turn into. These aren't your normal slashers, they're actually enhanced slashers. A stronger and deadlier slasher variant who can take a good amount of damage before they go down, or are totally rendered defenseless. They're tough to take down, and if many bodies are strewn about, any infectors around should be killed ASAP. Granted, you can also just stomp the body's arms off, which would make any corpse pretty much useless, but then the infector's gonna have to go after you. Their grab isn't exactly terrible to deal with, it's no different than everything else, and the reversal is completely just metal as fuck. Isaac grabs hold of its proboscis and beats it down a couple times before stomping on it and just pulling on it until it snaps off. That is some God of War 3 ripping Helios' head off level of metal. After killing the captain again, we grab his rig and send the codes to Hammond. We also find the autopsy report for Captain Matthias close by. Medical log, medical examiner Dr. Domus. Report of death on ship subject, Captain Matthias. It is my sad duty to officially pronounce Captain Benjamin Matthias dead. Reports of the exact circumstances surrounding his death are conflicted and beyond the scope of my role. I can only report on the body. The subject was in generally good health for his age, though a cursory blood test indicates his leukocyte count was very low, with eosinophils in particular almost non-existent. His pre-flight physical exam showed no such problems, indicating rapid onset. However, it is unlikely this had any effect on his death. Multiple contusions on the arms and hands, indicating a brief struggle pre-mortem. Slight contusions around the ribcage suggest his chest was restrained in some way. Cause of death was a single prolonged trauma to the ocular body, which continued on through the cavity wall and finally into the frontal lobe, causing rapid neurotrauma, seizure, and death. The force required to puncture the ocular cavity in this manner is great, and the possibility of self-infliction correspondingly low. I therefore have no alternative but to record a preliminary verdict of unlawful death. Whether deliberate or accidental is beyond my jurisdiction. Hammond starts searching around and tells us to head back to the tram. On the way, Hammond tells us he got ambushed but contained the threat. He tells us these necromorphs aren't just mindless zombies or reanimated corpses. They're semi-sentient, an alien life form infecting and transforming people. Mostly corpses. Before we learn more, Hammond orders us to engineering, as the Ishimura's engines are offline, meaning we're slowly falling toward the planet. We arrive at the engineering deck, a not so great home away from home from how things have been so far. Hammond lets us know what we need to do. Get the centrifuge spinning again and refuel the engine so we don't fall out of the sky. Once an engineer, always an engineer. This is also the place where we first meet Jacob Temple. Well, where we first hear his story.
Personal log. Acting Chief Engineer Jacob Temple. It's been 2 days since they pulled that planet open, since the captain died. The panic, the riots, they were nothing compared with what came after. Our friends, our co-workers, started coming back. Changed, coming back to kill us, drag us away. Rucker disappeared this morning, and I have to assume he's dead. My crew, they're starting to crack. I'm trying to keep an eye on them, but right now I have bigger problems. We're hemorrhaging fuel and the primary engine is laboring. Danvers and I are going to try to reach the fuel depot to see if we can fix it. Temple out.
We'll be following his journey throughout most of the game. We keep moving towards the centrifuge, witnessing the carnage all throughout. I don't know what's going on around here. Someone said the ship's been attacked. Who the hell would attack us out here? First the captain dies, now we get attacked? Carmack says someone on bridge staff killed him. Can't believe that. Goddamn chaos now. Can't get through to the bridge. Can't get through to anyone. Everyone's running. Getting the hell out of here. I should probably join them.
What in hell is going on here? Danvers, Henderson, he's crazy. He's pulling his own teeth out. Henderson, for God's sake. Oh, God. Is he dead? Relax. He's alive. But he hit that door pretty hard. Man, why would he do something like that? I don't get it.
Madness has befallen the men all throughout the ship, it seems.
Never should have let him live. Never should have let him live. Shut it, Danvers. Shut it. Engineering log. Temple reporting. Someone has shut off the fuel lines to the primary engine and damaged the valves in the process. They need to be repaired before I can reopen them, but we're running out of time. With the engine offline, orbit decay will begin in less than 10 hours. I just can't understand who would do this. If it's one of those crazy unitologist bastards, I'll break their neck. Henderson said they were coming. We never should have let them live. Shut up, Danvers! Help me with the tools. Temple out.
I'm surprised Temple has lived this long and has kept his sanity so intact. Most everyone has gone insane at this point, and the marker has been aboard for at least a few cycles now at least. I don't want to say Temple is immune to the marker's influence or anything, but I'm just impressed. We keep moving forward to refuel the engines. The gondola is out of alignment, so we'll need to kinesis it back to cross the gap. On our way through, we come across another schematic. This one's for the Ripper. How can a tool get any more fun? Maybe by doing good damage against several enemies and not just a few. Yes, the Ripper is fun, but it's not great, as it has a sort of minimum range from you. It's greatly effective on slashers, leapers, infectors, and any other necromorph you can easily get close to. Just make sure they don't get too close to you, or you'll have to refire. Ranged enemies aren't really as fun either, but its altfire does allow you just to shoot a blade outright at a very commendable distance, so you're not totally screwed. I'll break it out if I want to have some fun, but I'm keeping the plasma cutter on me in case of, like, lurkers and We finish refueling the engines with just enough juice to get our orbit stable for a little bit. We make our way back to get to the centrifuge spinning again. That way the Ishimura maintains balance and alignment with Aegis 7 while carrying the trillion tons of rock she's hauling at the same time. Jesus, that's a very scary looking hole. Anyways, we head into the centrifuge room and get to work. This is gonna be a long section, and in 0G, so get ready. The centrifuge is disconnected from the clutch generators, and they're spinning way too fast to just connect them quickly and call it a day. So we'll have to stasis them to slow them down and connect them via kinesis. Now with the centrifuge powered up, we just need to restart it. Here's where the fun part begins. Gravity gets restored and we enter a vacuum, for reasons beyond me. And now we have a very massive steel pendulum swinging around that'll kill us immediately if we're not careful. Oh, also we have to deal with necromorphs too. God, we just can't catch a break. Okay, that's done. Oh shit! That was a drag tentacle, and they're simultaneously the most interesting and most frustrating enemies we'll face. They're simple to deal with, just shoot the obvious weak spot until it pops and it'll let us go. It's not easy, but it shouldn't be super difficult. It's more so just kind of a jarring fight. Kendra actually gives us a ring and lets us know that she blocked herself in the computer core. It's nice that she's still alive, and is also now a very advantageous place for us.
I can launch into everything from here. I hacked the route and found some reports from the colony. Even before they cracked the planet, the colonists were experiencing widespread dementia. It seems to be related to some artifact they found on the planet. Something called the marker.
It turns out the reason the door to the engine room was locked is because the route was actually exposed to the vacuum of space. We move through it and get to a very, very loud fucking room. I'm honestly not sure why this room is loud, but it's almost impossible to hear anything. Anyways, now that I have Denias again, we get to this place. I'm really not sure what's covering the walls, but whatever it is, it's an organic substance and it restricts our movement. There's also this rather unfriendly guy, known as a Guardian. This one specifically is an immature Guardian, though, as it's just kind of the upper half of some unfortunate soul. They can't do much and just kind of thrust at us for minimal damage. To speak off script, I never really considered these guys as enemies. To me, they kind of seemed just more like level hazards you have to be careful with. Never really expected them to actually be enemies, though. Temple makes a return and decides to run for his girlfriend or wife or something, Elizabeth.
This is Temple. Screw the engine. I can't restart it by myself, and with all the other shit going on, it's obvious this is sabotage. I'm heading for the bridge, and then I need to find Elizabeth. I gotta get her off this ship, it's not safe.
Despite seemingly losing his mind, Danvers also made a text log talking about the corruption. Engineering log, Danvers reporting. The unidentified growth seen in other parts of the ship has now reached engineering. I don't know what the hell this stuff is. Looks like someone threw up their guts all over the walls. But it's spreading faster than we can cut it up, which is pretty disgusting in itself. It's already in the engine spoke, and if we can't find a way to stop it soon, it'll hit the main chamber by the day after tomorrow. I hope the docs are looking into it, because it's way beyond me. Granted, I don't know when he made it, but it's interesting to see where it gets its name. Finally, we made it to the engine room. Yeah, I think we'd better leave them. Oh, great. Now we get another slasher variant. Actually, no, this one's known as a pregnant, for obvious reasons. Pregnants are a very tricky breed of necromorph, as its namesake is what makes it so incredibly dangerous. By itself, it just walks and runs slowly towards us and doesn't really do much damage compared to other slashers. The real danger comes from the fact that if you deal damage by even one body shot, it'll tear itself open, releasing loads of swarmers. Not a bad thing to deal with if you have a good crowd control tool, but we have only a plasma cutter. We don't really do crowd control. The best strategy against pregnants is the same as other slashers. Just take off the arms. It's slower in comparison to other slashers, so we'll have plenty of time. The problem is that we can't really stun it as easily because we can't body shot it. It's also got really tough limbs. Even at max upgrades, it takes a couple of shots. And the legs are also rather stumpy, making them a much harder target to hit. Still, it is possible, and we cut it down to size without releasing its swath of swarmers. And, as a reward for our accuracy, we get a gold semiconductor. We start up the ignition and get ambushed to help cut down on the wait time. Gotta admit, this is actually kind of an engaging fight. We start up the engines and get ourselves moving again. Hammond is pleased with our work, but Kendra lets us know that the asteroid defense system is down, and we're headed for a debris field that'll tear the ship to shreds. Hammond orders us to the bridge to get the ADS back up.
Isaac, where are you? It's me, Nicole.
We get back to the tram, and now head for the bridge.